Our readers are still leaving stories and memories of interactions with Shane Warne over the years, and here is another installment. You can see some of the previous ones in our fan reaction story. Bronwyn Cook. About 20 years ago, I worked at the cinema in Brighton. One day, an older gentleman dropped his keys as he was leaving. As he bent down to pick them up, he stumbled and almost fell. A number of people walked past, without helping, when a younger bloke with a couple of kids jogged over and helped him up. He picked up the older man's keys and settled him, giving him a pat on the back and asking, "You all right, mate?" It was Shane Warne. He may have done extraordinary things on the cricket pitch, but to that older man, and others, he was just a really nice bloke. Cricket fans pay tribute at the statue of Shane Warne. Jason South. Leah. I didn't meet Shane, but I did have a special Warne moment when I was traveling through Sri Lanka in 2017. We went to Gala and got dropped off near the stadium. Some locals approached and asked where we came from. We said Australia, and immediately they started jumping up and down excitedly and pulling us towards the stadium, pointing and shouting Shane Warne. Shane Warne, they credited him for rebuilding their beloved stadium, and they were so proud to show it off to us. It was such an amazing moment to see what our Warne meant to people on the other side of the world, especially as anyone who has travelled Sri Lanka and India will know how cricket runs in their blood. R.I.P. Warne. Rick Wall. Shane had a very warm and generous heart. After the Black Saturday bushfires, he agreed to help out on the proviso that the media wasn't involved. On a particularly foggy night, he drove up to Kinglake to talk at a local function. The Kinglake Ridge was a whiteout, and we all thought he would turn around and go home. Instead, he parked the car and phoned one of the locals to come and get him. He spoke at the function and then answered every single question the locals threw at him. Shane then sat outside with them having a beer and a smoke. I know for a fact he was still involved with the locals years later. Darren. I was at the SCG in 1997. At the conclusion of the match, as Shane was walking off, a lady who had a disabled child called out to him to please say hello and maybe a photo. Shane jumped seats and sat with the child before heading to the dressing sheds with a miniature cricket bat. He returned a short time later with every Aussie player's signature. Tears flowed as they are today. Great Aussie. R.I.P. Greg. About 21 years ago, I played a season in the lower grades at St Kilda Cricket Club. At the junction over one early evening, Warne was free of state duties and came down to training for an early hit. He was leaving as I arrived. We shared an imperceptible nod to each other as we walked past each other. Even as club mates, I was too starstruck to say hi.